Those campers that Russ Lane Sr. rescued in 1958 would now be in their early to mid-70s. With just a few names and details from the newspaper article, Russie set out to see if he could track them down.
Along the way, he unearthed details and began to build relationships with the people whose lives had been changed on that August afternoon 63 years ago.
What prompted you to do that now?
My father was having a hard time. My father was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress syndrome. He wasn't happy with his life. I was raised in a very loving home. He was a wonderful father, but he was hiding things well. To him, he was like, he was a failure. So I wanted to prove to him that he wasn't a failure. And that was my main motivation.
Dan Granoff was the first person Russie located. He is a doctor on the West Coast. Russie fired off an email.
Middle of the next night, I woke up in the middle of the night, checking my email. I don't normally do that. There it was. Yeah, I got a letter from him. It said, "Dear Mr. Lane, I'm one of the guys that your father saved." And it blew me away. In his letter, he wrote all the names of everyone that was there.
A few years after the rescue, Dan Granoff had jotted down notes, 40 pages of them, of what he could remember about that afternoon. All these years later, he knew exactly where he had kept those notes.
When Russ contacted me, I knew exactly where this was. So, it's not like I thought about it every day, but I definitely was in my conscious. And it was an important record because I considered it a very important event. I mean, it was, because I realized, and especially as I got a little further on, how that it was easily that we all could have died, and life would have changed a lot.
Dan shared his notes with Russie, details he recalled about the other campers. As an adult, Dr. Dan Granoff had a hand in creating the vaccine that has nearly eradicated meningitis in Africa. Susan Cheever was in that boat. Now she's an author and historian and daughter of John Cheever. Jeffrey Stark served as a justice of the New York Supreme Court. With each new connection, the impact of this rescue grew, and Russie would report the new information to his mother and father.
He was thirsty for this knowledge of everything that happened. He wanted to know all about it because it gave him that worth that wasn't there in his own life. So just that moment of time meant so much to him.
I was struck in the book about how a moment in time for all of us can change the course of our lives. And that's true for everyone, but this really was this moment in time that, had it gone in a different way, would have changed 5 lives. They would have ended.
Exactly.
And instead, it was this very quiet event. And yet, these people got this chance to live out their lives, which I found incredibly powerful.
The information that Russie was uncovering was powerful for his father as well.
It really turned his life around.
With the initial idea of reflecting something back to your dad and showing him this value in his life, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like you accomplished that. Do you feel that way?
I like to think that I did. I finished the manuscript. I handed it to my father. He devoured it. He did. He could read a stop sign before that, but he devoured that book. I said, "Dad, there's some things in here that you might not want out there." He said, "If it helps somebody else out, leave it right there." I said, "I think it will, Dad." And then he passed away just a few months after that. I guess the thing I want to say is that my father passed away. There was nothing that didn't go left unsaid. And that was such an amazing thing to happen, because we as mothers and fathers, we do the best we can, but it's always going to fall kind of short. And my father and I had some things about we didn't see eye to eye about, but nothing left unsaid.
Turns out this reluctant storyteller has written a bit of a love story that, as Rusty told me, gave his father a real sense of worth in the last years of his life. You can't ask for much more than that. Now, we will include a link to the film that Rusty made about the rescue, Looking for a Hero, as well as a bit of the backstory to the title of the book in the 207 section of our website and mobile app.
And there's actually more to the story because Rusty has developed connections with some of the people who were rescued.
He visited them. He went out to see Dan, and he's visited with Susan in New York City. And they have both come to Maine. In fact, they came to Maine to visit while his dad was still alive. And so his father got to meet them, which was an incredible reunion, and a little bit of that is in the film as well. So, and the relationships are ongoing. They continue to be in touch. They continue to visit each other. It's really remarkable.
It is, and it's like you pointed out, just that one silent moment.
It really struck me how, in an instant, I mean, we know this, we all know this, but in an instant, our lives can change. Mm-hmm. And those 5 kids may not have lived out their lives, and look at how they've turned out.
Yeah, the accomplishments.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty extraordinary.
Right.
I agree.
What a story.
Quite a story.
Thank you.
Peg.